All right, so Isaiah 11 is that kind of language, apocalyptic, uh, prophecy type scripture. So the first couple verses, um, down through verse 5, 1 through 5, is surely talking about Jesus, and that we can be sure of. So let's read it. A shoot will come up from Jesse. Who's Jesse? Anyone know? Jesse was King David's dad. Remember that? Remember Jesse had all these sons, and then Samuel came to him and said, God's going to make one of your sons a king. And then each one lined up, and none of them was it. And he was like, you don't have any more sons? And he's like, well, there's one more. He's the youngest, and he's in the field. He's a shepherd. Surely it can't be him. And then it ended up being him. It's David. Right? And while David was a shepherd, he was out there with his sling, probably sitting there all day, like getting his aim on, right? And it says that during that time, he killed a bear with his bare hands, and he killed a lion, and then he steps to Goliath, and you guys all remember that story, right, from when you were a kid. 3 stones, 1 shot, right in the middle of the head. Well, where do you think he got that aim? You're in the field all day with sheep, and it's just you and sheep, right? It's probably like that for you. Yeah, right. Okay, so that's who Jesse is. Jesse is David's dad. So when he says a shoot will come up from Jesse, he's referring to God made a covenant with David and said, your throne will be an everlasting throne. One will come from you who will rule everlastingly. He's referring to Jesus. A shoot will come up from Jesse. From his roots a branch will bear fruit. The Spirit, capital S, of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and power, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord. And he will delight in the fear of the Lord. This is talking about Jesus. He will not judge by what he sees with his eyes or decide by what he hears with his ears, but with righteousness he will judge the needy. With justice he will give decisions for the poor of the earth. He will strike the earth with the rod of his mouth. With the breath of his lips he will slay the wicked. Righteousness will be his belt, and faithfulness a sash around his waist. Okay, that's referring to Jesus. And I think it's referring to him on earth and in his eternal rule. Because he will strike the nations with his mouth. In fact, in Revelation, he's seen with a double-edged sword coming out of his mouth by which he'll strike the nations. Okay, and I don't think that's literal. I think it's figurative. I mean, Colossians tells us that Jesus spoke and created. Right? When the beginning, it said, in the beginning, God said, let there be light. Colossians says that was Jesus. It's crazy. And so, with the word of his mouth, surely he can strike down the nations and destroy his enemies. If he can speak and the universe comes into existence, surely he can speak and his enemies will turn into puddles of blood. Now, this is a picture, whether symbolism or literal, it's still a picture of when Jesus rules. And I do believe there will be animals in heaven. And I do have that view. I don't see why not. Right? If they're here and Jesus is riding a horse at the second coming, all right. Verse 6, R.C. Sproul thinks his dogs will be in heaven, and I respect R.C. Sproul. Okay? The wolf will live with the lamb. Okay, we're seeing right here a reverse of the curse in Genesis 3. The curse on the animal kingdom, the curse on the ground, the curse on people, the curse on everything, the universe itself is lifted. This is a picture of the lifting of the curse. The wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling together. The little child will lead them. The cow will feed the bear, and their young will lie down together. The lion will eat straw like an ox. The infant will play near the hole of the cobra, and the young child put his hand into the viper's nest. They will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. Okay, so whether that's literal, and kids are literally going to be grabbing on vipers and not getting hurt, and if that's literal, that'd be great. Okay, if it's figurative, you get it, right? Little kids aren't going to be getting harmed anymore. Animals aren't going to be devouring each other anymore like now, like National Geographic, right? We're like, get them, right? the guys, the girls are like, no, run, dear, the guys are like, get them. You know what I mean? Pat's laughing. He's like, yeah, that's the way it is. All right. No more of that, okay? The National Geographic will be like, oh, look, the lion is eating grass. Watch as he, all right, you get it. Yeah. Look as he nibbles the tumbleweed. All right, go back to Romans. You guys get it. All right, verse 15. For what will the rejection, for if their rejection is the reconciliation of the world, what will their acceptance be but life from the dead? All right, we got 15 minutes. I'm going to attempt to tackle some difficult stuff in 15 minutes. You guys with me? Okay. If the part of the dough offered as first fruits is holy, then the whole batch is holy. If the root is holy, so are the branches. In general, here's what he's saying. Before Abraham, there were no Jewish people, right? You guys know Genesis 12. God comes to Abraham from Ur of the Chaldeans, and he pulls him out, and he says, look, Abraham, this is Genesis chapter 12, if you're taking notes, I'm going to make a nation out of you. I'm going to make kings from you, and all the nations of the world will be blessed through you. You guys know the history of the Jewish people. Abraham had Isaac, Isaac had Jacob, Jacob had 12 sons who became the 12 tribes of Israel, and Jesus came from the tribe of Judah. They're the same tribe that David was from, Solomon. Now, what this is referring to, the dough and the root, I believe is referring to the four fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, we have to understand what the word holy means in this passage. Let me read it one more time.